your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NORDVPN.com. It's not just a glove, it's a 44 Pro. Crafted with dedication, made for performance, and built to last. Get your custom glove today at 44pro.com and experience the 44 Pro difference. That's 44pro.com, 44 Pro.
Our patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Engels90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Whether it's sports, theater, or concert, for the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. Ticket Liquidator.
Introducing Bark in the Belly Premium Dog Food. 100% of profits go to help dogs in need.
Over 30% of adults struggle with chronic foot and joint pain, and many face mobility limitations as they age. But a revolutionary Comfort First slipper has taken the wellness world by storm. Try Cloud Slides and feel you are walking on the clouds. Cloud Slides.
Here we are, Wicked Boston Show, Blackmoor Bar and Kitchen, first game for the Boston Bruins after the Olympic break, and the first live remote show in the history of the Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stuart here on 365 Sports. Zach, can you, in the background, maybe give me a thumbs up, thumbs down in case this is crazy? Because it kind of fluctuates the volume. And I don't know if that's too loud or not. You hearing okay? Like, nothing? I mean, it's going to be something, right? What the people here have no idea is that I've just wandered off the street, told them that I have a live show here tonight. The great people at the Blackmoor Bar and Kitchen had no idea, okay? And just wandered in here, said I knew Joe, And here we are. Now we're doing a show. We've got Bruins Blue Jackets tonight. And if you're here for any game, Celtics, Bruins, Disney on Ice, Madonna, whatever, at the TD Garden, there is nowhere better to come pregame, postgame even, than right here, Blackmoor Bar and Kitchen. Okay? Lovely Charlestown, right by the wharf, and right by Storrow, Route 1, all the major roads, and you can walk to the Garden. So super easy, cheap parking, and if you're looking like for a little buzz, a little pregame, and you want some options, there's no better place to come than here, okay? 34 draft beers here at Blackmoor, and an incredible menu here that I've got in front of me. They have no idea. I'm going to order like 5 things, man. If they want it on the Wicked Boston show, I am going to do a taste test here before the Bees take the ice. And I'm going to tell you, like, obviously this is the greatest hockey city in America, but there is a buzz. There is a buzz around here after the U.S. wins the gold medal and the Bruins coming back. I mean, there was a general buzz around the NHL last night. Obviously, that great moment with Jack Hughes, not Zach Werenski, hopefully Zach Werenski tonight. Jack Hughes and Tage Thompson skating out on the ice in Jersey, getting a huge ovation. Just once again showing you that the world is not on Twitter. The world is not Twitter. The opinions of Twitter and the opinions of the world are typically not the same thing. But we have got an entire Bruins show ready for you on this special edition of the Wicked Boston show. It's going to be I'm going to be talking about the teams in the East that I'm worried about, that the Bruins might need to be worried about coming off the Olympic break with 25, 26 games left after the Olympic break. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the trade deadline, which is 8 days from now, and the Bruins have 4 games between now and then, and quite frankly, I still don't know where they're going to go. And I don't know if the Bruins fully know where they're going to go. We've got to look at the schedule that's remaining. We've got to look at what the actual needs are for this team, and then go over the actual rumors, if you will. And Jake DeBrusk, the possibility of a reunion there. And speaking of reunion, one of my all-time sentimental favorite Bruins is back in the Garden tonight for the first time since he got traded. South Shore legend Charlie Coyle back on the Garden ice, and that is such an awesome time. So, man, we are here. The atmosphere is great. You can see I'm cozy as hell, man. You got the snowbanks on the other side, but we have got the warm fire here. We've got the cold beers. We've got the great appetizers, the great meals. We are just whetting your appetite for NHL hockey back on the schedule. And this is where we kind of separate the boys from the men here. The awkwardly feminine from the possibly Canadian. All right, we got 25 games left on the Bruins schedule. Most of the league, it's 24, 25, 26 games. All right, you're trying to get your legs back underneath you. You've got back-to-backs, and we've got a playoff push. The Bruins sitting there in the second wild card spot, just living in that final wild card spot. They've been there for weeks of playing time, not just the last 3 weeks where they haven't been playing, and they are just scratching and clawing. And we know this team is going to need to scratch and claw all the way till the end of the season. So what I'm going to do for you now is the 3 teams I'm most worried about in the Eastern Conference. The teams that are threatening the Bruins, the teams that could be taking the Bruins spot, the teams that the whole rest of the conference should be worried about. And before I get into those 3, it's worth mentioning, honorable mention, one of the teams that the rest of the league should be worried about, or at least the Eastern Conference should be worried about, is the team the Bruins are playing tonight, the Columbus Blue Jackets. This was the worst possible time for them to go on a 3-week break. They were the hottest team in the NHL going into the Olympics, 7 straight wins, 9 of their last 10 going into this thing, and this is a team that just missed it. Just missed it in 2025, man. They were so close. They proved that a guy like Zach Werenski, a top 5 D-man in the league. Like, if we're being honest, he's always underrated because nobody watches Columbus. He could get you there. They're very close, and they find a way. Their goal differential's not hot. Their goaltending has been Merzlikins actually not having a good year, but they're kind of finding a way, top 10 in goaltending. They are a team that is dangerous going down the stretch, and part of it is because they play in the Metro. The Metro division is like 50 feet of crap right now, okay? After Carolina, nobody knows who's going in that division. And right now, the automatic qualifiers behind them, behind Carolina, are Pittsburgh and the New York Islanders. Does anyone have enough confidence to put money on either of those two teams making the postseason as it stands today? I sure as hell don't. So honorable mention, Columbus Blue Jackets. This is a humongous game tonight, actually. Like, no rest for the wicked when you come back in after, for some of you, winning the gold medal. McAvoy, Werenski, Swayman. First game back, a little 4-point action, man. Columbus is 4 points behind Boston for that second wild card spot. A win here for them tonight on the road, where they have not played particularly well, would be humongous for CBJ. And flip side for the Bruins. I know you had a couple of guys who won the gold medal. You know, you had a couple of guys who went into the knockout round. You know, Henry Jokiharju got the bronze. Sweden, the Czechs. So 2 Lindholms and a Pasternak played in the knockout round. But for the most part, you had a lot of key guys who did not need to travel, who didn't play for 3 weeks while the rest of the team was taking it off, right? You know, guys like Morgan Geekie, guys like Casey Middlestat, guys like Victor Arvidsson. You have a lot of guys who have gotten the rest. Here it is tonight. So technically, this is where I start the top 3 after all that preamble. But the 3 teams I'm most worried about in the Eastern Conference in this playoff push, number 3, the Washington Capitals. And part of this absolutely has to do with the fact that they're playing in the Metro Division, right? The Metro is weird, weird, weird. And, man, there is no way to call it. No way to. But Philadelphia was already fading. Pittsburgh is going to fade. Okay, no Sidney Crosby. He's still the best player on their team at 38 years old. That team is nothing without Sidney Crosby. And if he is hurt enough to stay out of the gold medal, obviously he is not going to be a huge factor for them down the stretch. And the Caps sitting there right behind the Bruins, just 2 points behind the final wild card spot. And while I'm worried about them making a run, I'm not necessarily worried about them knocking off the Bruins, because I think they're going to get one of the automatic qualifier spots, one of the top 3 spots in the Metro. And part of it has to do with their schedule. The Bruins, the second toughest remaining schedule for their final 25 games in the NHL. Washington, they got it on easy street, man. 17th toughest schedule in the NHL for their final 25 games. And I'm feeling even crazy to say this, but like a year and a half ago, if you told me that I was going to say what I'm about to say, I'd think you're crazy. But maybe the biggest part of Washington making a run here is they're about to get Pierre-Luc Dubois back. And what a career arc for Pierre-Luc Dubois going to Washington, because this was the poster child of lazy, cherry-picking offense, not going to give you a 200-foot game, only going to play in one zone, not going to give you good shifts, going to take shifts off. He's not that way anymore. Pierre-Luc Dubois is a big cog in that machine in Washington. And he was last year when they were the best team in the Eastern Conference, and he is going to be again. He's been in and out of the lineup. This is a huge addition for the Caps down the stretch. Logan Thompson is giving them a great year. Ovechkin, ageless wonder. Not exactly given what he gave you last year, but shout out to the Russians not being in the Olympics. Your 40-year-old sniper gets 3 weeks off in the middle of the season, unlike ever before. So humongous for them. And I talked about this with Columbus. It is much better on the Washington side, and that is goal differential. It's something I look for when you look at these teams that are about to make a surge. They're not just skating by. No pun intended. They're plus 14. That's a better goal differential than the Bruins, who are ahead of them. In fact, it's a better goal differential than 4 other teams in the playoff picture. So I'm not necessarily worried about them taking the Bruins wildcard spot, because I think the Washington Capitals are going to finish second in the Metro Division. Okay, they're going to leapfrog Pittsburgh. They're going to leapfrog the New York Islanders. And I'm telling you, with how mushy that Metro Division is, you've got 2 teams outside the playoff picture right now that I think could be the 2nd and 3rd seed in that division. I really think that could be Washington and Columbus. So, Caps, watch out for these guys, man. And not to mention, they've got a hell of a coach in Spencer Carberry. Man, I mean, we saw what he did last year to get them to first in the Eastern Conference. He can put something together with Pierre-Luc Dubois back in the lineup. Number 2 team I am most wary of in the Eastern Conference going into that playoff push. I can already hear the people booing right now in Charlestown. Number 2 team, Les Montreal Canadiens. Montreal fascinates me. They're in an automatic qualifying spot right now, but I think they're a team that could legit finish second in the Atlantic Division and possibly be the second best team in the Eastern Conference going into the postseason. With how congested the Atlantic is, like, that is something that is week to week, day to day, on who is going to get these top 3 spots in the Atlantic. You know, the Bruins could sneak their way in there. Tampa looks like a wagon, but everywhere else, you just got a lot of good teams. In the Metro, you got a lot of teams that are about to fade. In the Atlantic, you got a lot of teams that are about to push. And the Canadiens, they are so close to being a legit Stanley Cup contender. They've got some kinks in the armor right now, mainly the goaltending. But you look at the young talent and all that hype that they got before the year, they're living up to it. With Caulfield and with Hudson and Slavkovsky, man, how good did Slavkovsky look in the Olympics for Slovakia? He's a huge reason they were in the semifinals. I mean, that guy is looking like a number 1 pick. And the only guy who was part of this young core who was not part of that playoff stretch last year, which went basically up to game 82, was Demidov. And I say that because obviously Demidov did come in at the end of the season, but he was like 4 games. And he was good in those 4 games, but he wasn't like last 2 months of the season, every points matter kind of guy. But the rest of the young guys there, they were there. And they were no guarantee to be in the playoffs at this point last year, and they snuck in. And they've gotten a taste of Lady April. A little taste of what playoff hockey looks like in arguably the greatest hockey city in the world, in Montreal. They have got everything but the goaltending right now. And I know that's an important piece, but that is Jekyll and Hyde, man. They got a new goalie coach in here right before the Olympic break. Neither of their guys went. Dostal did. But you could, if you get a tune out of one of those guys, Dostal or Montembeault, who have both been excellent in the past in spurts, then you could steal a series just off that alone. Montreal's got the young talent. They probably need a little help down the middle. They could be buyers at the trade deadline next week, but they are a danger team in that they are one little piece away. If one of their 2 goaltenders figure it out, that is a legit contender. Legit. So Montreal worries the hell out of me. And anyone having to play in that building in April should be worried. I mean, I would love to have a Boston-Montreal series again. I don't know how much I'd fancy the Bruins' chances as we sit here on February 26th, but that would be absolute theater for the NHL. The number 1 Eastern Conference team that I am worried about down the stretch, the Detroit Red Wings, man. I don't know if anyone got better Olympic stock from their players playing over there than the Detroit Red Wings did. The reason Sweden was there in the knockout stage and brought the U.S. to overtime is because of Lucas Raymond. He was their best player comfortably for Sweden at the tournament. And I thought maybe the most underrated guy for the United States was Dylan Larkin. I said it stock up, stock down the other day. Like, we need to get Dylan Larkin in the playoffs. We as the NHL, we as the hockey watching public, maybe not necessarily we, one of the teams that could be going against the Detroit Red Wings in the playoffs. But this dude, he suits up for Team USA at the Four Nations last year, in the Olympics this year, and he's a stud. He's a point-a-game guy who will do anything you ask of him. Will do anything you ask him to do. He is a face-off machine. He is a hell of a defensive center. I mean, excellent on that PK. We talk about JT Miller and Vinny Trocheck and why they actually did deserve to be there at the Olympics. But Dylan Larkin, that's a dude who was a huge part, maybe the best penalty killing forward for a penalty kill that went 18 for 18 against the world's best in the entire tournament. So I am scared about a guy like Dylan Larkin or a guy like Lucas Raymond in the postseason and getting a charged up building at Detroit who hasn't been in the playoffs for a decade now. And the other thing they've gotten this year, which they have not gotten in the past few years when they've been really close, is the goaltending. They went out and invested in the offseason. They brought Johnny Gibson in here. And the big thing is, John Gibson's been healthy. All right, Larkin's been great. Raymond's been great. DeBrinket's been great. But they've gotten the goaltending, and they might have the Norris Trophy winner this year in Mo Seider. I mean, Mo Seider was absolutely the front runner for the Norris Trophy going into the Olympic break. So they have gotten it in all three zones. They've gotten it down the middle. That is a team that, even though they're in a good spot right now, and first wild card, 3 points ahead of the Bruins, and do have a top 10 schedule remaining, I think they're getting hot at the right time, man. And I think they've got the horses. The only concern I would have for Detroit is the old guys. James Van Riemsdyk, Patrick Kane, they've been giving you a good season so far. But as someone who watched James Van Riemsdyk 2 years ago with Boston, Kevin Shattenkirk was on that same team, I think you worry about how much longer that lasts. Patrick Kane and I was just saying it, Van Riemsdyk, at their age, probably give you a good half a season. We've gotten that good half a season. The Yzer plan is starting to work. I think you've got a ton of guys in their prime. I think Detroit is primed to be big-time buyers at the trade deadline. So I think the way this team looks right now is not as good as how this team is going to look in a week. And it's looking pretty good right now. So Detroit, Montreal, Washington, maybe Columbus. Those are the teams that I am worried about going down the stretch. And it really kind of has to be in the back of the mind of Don Sweeney and Cam Neely. How much better are we going to get? How much better are the teams around us going to get? How do we need to look after the trade deadline if we're going to feel good about our space in the postseason, clinging on to that second wild card right now? Those are the teams I'm worried about. Let me know who you're worried about in the comments section below. And are you worried about the Bruins? Good, bad, or otherwise? Let me know in the comments section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Come and find us every weekday on YouTube and wherever you find your podcasts as well on the Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stuart here on 365 Sports. I watched that moment last night with Jack Hughes and Tage Thompson. I thought it was awesome. All right. You know, I don't know that Jack needed to grab the microphone or anything, but to get that ovation, I mean, what a crowd pop for both guys. You know, he brings Tage Thompson off the bench, a guy who's playing against them in that night, and the place is going nuts. And you could see a ton of USA jerseys. Saw a great stat that was like 70% of the tickets that were bought, it was 50% after Jack Hughes scored the overtime goal. Were bought, single game tickets were bought for that game. So half of them were bought after the U.S. won the gold medal. So I think there's a great opportunity tonight for the Bruins. You got some other Olympians in this game. Henry Jokiharju won the bronze. You should do a little thing for him first. And then Jeremy Swayman, who's not playing tonight. Jeremy Swayman, Charlie McAvoy, and bring Zach Werenski off the bench for Columbus and let them have a skate. Okay, I don't need comments. I don't need a tribute video, but give them a skate, arm in arm, give them an American flag, and let the crowd pop. I think that would be such a great tribute to those guys and a great moment for the fans to show, hey, you know, there's all this shit going on Twitter right now, but we really appreciate you guys. Real life is not Twitter. And this is an ultra important game tonight. It's also Charlie Coyle's homecoming. We're going to talk about that later on in the show. What I want to get to next, though, is looking a deeper dive into the trade deadline. The Bruins are one of the most fascinating teams when it comes to this deadline. I want to look at all the rumors that we've seen so far and whether the one that makes the most sense is bringing old fan favorite Jake DeBrusk back to the Garden. We are here at the Blackmoor Bar and Kitchen. 34 draft beers here, all kinds of great bites that I'm going to have to put it in order for the commercial break. And look, if you're coming here for a game or something at the Garden, I'm telling you, I've tested them all. There's nowhere better to go beforehand. As you can see, it's cozy as hell. All right, take a break from all the snowbanks on the other side of me. Come in here, have a drink, have some food. You can get cheap parking right around the corner, and you can walk to the Garden. And you can feel the buildup. Don't worry about the green line. Don't worry about all the delays getting into North Station. Come on down here, have one of their 34 draft beers, have a couple. Shoot, I don't care. And then walk on over to the Garden, know that your car's in good shape, and go root on the Bees and the Celtics. Nowhere better. Thank you to Blackmoor Bar and Kitchen. Thank you to Stephanie Beatty, by the way, who will get 3 or 4 more shout-outs before we're done here. Stephanie has got us set up. She not only got us here, but got us the banner, got us this unbelievable drop-down Wicked Boston logo. Everyone's looking and asking who the guy on the horse is. It's me. But Stephanie has set us up in this great spot with an unreal setup. So shout out to Stephanie and our team over at 365 Sports. Shout out to Zach, who's going to stay a little bit longer today. I'm keeping him a little bit after hours as we go. Just a little bit, Zach, just a few minutes. And shout out to everyone that's here, man. We got a great crowd here, and I'm starting to get some looks. I'm getting some nods. I'm getting some thumbs up. Yeah, thumbs up to you too. Yeah. Here, get the barcode. Find the show. Anyway, when we come back, let's talk trade deadline. Let's talk Jake DeBrusk possibly coming back to the Bruins. Why it could end up being the best thing, but why I still hate it. That's next on the Wicked Boston Show.
Blackmoor Bar and Kitchen, located in Charlestown, is the perfect spot for a bite and drink before a Bruins or Celtics game at TD Garden. Blackmoor Bar and Kitchen offers 34 rotating beers, craft cocktails, and an eclectic menu of tavern favorites like burgers, sandwiches, and flatbreads. Join us for brunch every Saturday and Sunday, plus pre- and post-game garden events. Blackmoor Bar and Kitchen. Check us out at blackmoorbar.com.
At 4U Health, we believe wellness and lab testing should be accessible, inclusive, and yes, fun. With our tech-powered at-home lab test, you save time and money while feeling your best. 4U Health. Visit 4uhealth.com today. With a focus on performance, design, and customer service, we're here to help you work smarter, not harder. Join us on our journey to simplify your world. Visit acasis.com today. That's ACASIS.com today.
Apollo Neuro is a new kind of wearable that helps your body recover from stress, that helps you calm down and feel better. You sleep better, and you can get back to being yourself. Learn more at apolloneuro.com.
But boy, it looked effortless.
Man, watch this.
Layups, floaters, threes. He was like an unsolvable equation.
I was born like this.
His resilience, his strength, his belief, and Adversity never stood a chance.
Know your power.
Introducing Muck-Off's classic pink bike cleaner, powered by revolutionary nanotechnology that breaks down dirt and grime on a microscopic level while protecting your bike's delicate finish. us.muc-off.com.
The U-Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. That's ULIKE.com. U-Like.
Back here on the Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stuart here on 365 Sports. You can find us, of course, on YouTube, wherever you find your podcasts as well, bringing you nothing but Boston sports content 5 days a week. Your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio, now becoming your dinner time alternative on this special day at the Blackmoor Bar and Kitchen in Charlestown. I mean, look, we have got an unreal sunset. We are right in the shadow of Bunker Hill in Breeds Hill, where the battle was actually fought, and right over the Bill Russell Bridge from the Garden. I mean, you couldn't ask for anything better than this. Zach, can you do me a favor from behind the glass? If you could put up the one that says PR, I'm going to use my phone so that you can actually see what it looks like here at the Blackmoor Bar and Kitchen. Look at that. Any better ambiance than that? Place is filling up. You got Bees fans. You can see the lovely sunset outside. Party Rocker, which has us on the air. All right, that's good. That's good. You don't need to do it anymore. But that is what we're rolling with today. Shout out to Stephanie Beatty for getting this thing set up. I mean, we are absolutely living here at the Blackmoor Bar and Kitchen in Charlestown. And it's been all Bruins. It's the Oops, All Bruins episode because it's the first game back. And it's actually a big game. And it's Charlie Coyle's homecoming. And it's kind of Charlie McAvoy and Jeremy Swayman's homecoming after winning the gold medal. And this Columbus team is right at the Bruins' heels. And, man, I mean, we got the flavor of Boston. We have got Aerosmith playing in the background, Dream On. Listened to it like 50 times during the Olympics and thereafter. Gave me goosebumps when the guys were singing that one in Freebird after winning the gold medal. But I want to talk about the trade deadline here, okay? We are now a week out from the NHL trade deadline, and I don't know if anybody knows how the Bruins are going to play this, how Don Sweeney is going to play this. Obviously, last year was cleaning house. And the more we look back on it, a year later, it's a hell of a trade deadline for Donnie. You know, it sucked seeing Brad Marchand go and win the Stanley Cup with not just another team, but a team that we loathe at this point, a team that we hate. And that stunk, for sure. But you're getting a first-round pick out of that. You absolutely fleeced Toronto in the Brandon Carlo trade. And you might have fleeced Colorado. Sorry, Charlie Coyle, to get Will Zellers in your prospect pool. But this is fascinating where the Bruins are at right now, okay? 4 games in the next week before the trade deadline. They are clinging to that second wild card spot, which they have done for essentially a month and a half. And I don't know if they're any closer to feeling like a playoff team than where they already are right now. Right now, the way I've seen them every game, they have the makeup of a playoff team. But the Atlantic is an absolute gauntlet. The Bruins have the second toughest schedule in the NHL for the rest of their 25 games in the regular season. And I don't know if they can really fill the holes they need to fill at the trade deadline. So what I mean by that is, unless you're pulling off something insane and you're mortgaging a lot of your future, I don't know that you're becoming plucky to playoff nailed-on possible contenders at this trade deadline. And when I look at what the Bruins need, they need a top 4 right-shot defenseman, and they need a scoring winger. I don't know if you can get that at the trade deadline unless you're willing to part with some serious draft capital, which the Bruins should not be wanting to do. Okay, they shouldn't be dealing some first-round picks to get someone who can maybe score 20 goals. Like that's what I thought was going to happen with Kiefer Sherwood. Thank God it didn't. Like that's a nice addition for San Jose, but it's not going to be a great one for the Bruins, and I'm glad they're not doing it. So looking at the rumors that we've seen so far, we've heard Justin Falk. We've heard Rasmus Ristolainen. Now we're hearing a Chicago one with our old pal Ryan Donato, South Shore native Ryan Donato. Honestly, there is none that has really stuck out to me so far. Rasmus Ristolainen was a hot one last week. Let's talk about Rasmus Ristolainen. Okay. The Flyers are fading out of it. They were kind of relevant in there for a couple of months. They're fading out of the picture. They're not going to be a playoff team. They're going to worry about Matvei Michkov much more than they got to worry about the playoffs. The Flyers are expecting a haul for Rasmus Ristolainen. Why? Shit if I know, man. Okay. But they are willing to eat part of that contract. That's $5.1 million AAV with one more year on it for a 31-year-old. And they are expecting, reports out of Philadelphia are saying the Flyers want to return like what the Bruins got for Brandon Carlo. I mean, come on. Whatever they'll have, whatever they're having, whatever they're smoking, I'll take it, man. Whatever shrooms they've got down there in Philadelphia that think they're going to get that kind of return for Rasmus Ristolainen, I got news for you. I have been very skeptical of Don Sweeney in the past. Okay? He's not the Leafs, man. He's not Brad Treliving. He's not biting on that apple. All right? They don't need the postseason this year that bad. Okay? And Rasmus Ristolainen is really not going to improve them that much. Okay, so there's no way they are sending a first-round pick, even if it's top 5, top 10 protected, and they're not sending one of their best prospects along with it. The Bruins, with their prospects right now, these AHL guys, like, it's one of those where I wouldn't mind parting with some of them, right? Fabian Lysell, obviously. Merkulov is not the caliber of prospect you could put in this kind of deal. And I'm willing to listen for Matthew Patra. I really am. But it's not for Rasmus Ristolainen. And I love seeing all these reports, and the justification of it from a Bruins side is, ooh, Rasmus Ristolainen is a playoff kind of player. Physical, clears out the crease. That's a guy you want in the playoffs, which is fascinating to me because what makes you think that he's a playoff player when he has not played one single playoff game? Hasn't played in a single playoff game in his entire career, and I got the justification of a trade for him being like, oh, well, he'll be great in the playoffs. Based on what? Because he could body some guys out of the crease in early February? No, man. Rasmus Ristolainen is not worth it, even if they're eating half the salary. He's not worth the first or second round pick. So miss me with Ristolainen. And miss me with Justin Falk. That's another one that has been thrown around. That was a hotter rumor before the winter break, or excuse me, before the Olympic break. What am I, in college? What the hell was that? Justin Falk having a decent season and certainly had his day. But for a team that is basically in the same position the Bruins were last year with the St. Louis Blues, Jim Montgomery, man, he giveth, he taketh away. You're expecting a first-round pick for Justin Falk. That's a deal Detroit makes, right? That has been desperate for playoff hockey. They're very close to it. They have a really good core that is in their prime or entering their prime. The Bruins, while they have some of their big players in their prime, they're a year or two away from that kind of deal. They're still trying to pick up draft capital. It is not worth it for Justin Falk, man. I'm sorry. 33-year-old guy. And the reports that I'm seeing, everyone's saying, well, Justin Falk makes sense because look at how much the Bruins were in on Rasmus Anderson. Not the same player. And Anderson actually has been kind of dog shit since going to Vegas. His Corsi is tanked, which is actually something I am very interested in defensemen, much more than any other position. I think Corsi's a little overblown, but not for defensemen. And his has hit the tank. So Justin Falk, for a similar deal that you were going to make for Rasmus Anderson, just makes no sense. He's not Rasmus Anderson. He's 4 years older than him. He's not as effective as him. And he's not driving play the way Rasmus Anderson was doing in Calgary, which is one of the worst teams in the league. So I'm not in on Justin Falk either. Here's the interesting one. Are the Bruins interested in a reunion with Jake DeBrusk? Need a top 4 right shot defenseman? You need a scoring winger. Might I introduce you to Jake DeBrusk, scoring winger extraordinaire? I don't know, man. 28 points in 56 games for the worst team in the league, right? And there's something to be said about that. But what I find so fascinating about Jake DeBrusk is, okay, he's a point every other game kind of player, which is exactly what he was with the Bruins. He was a 40-point guy. He was a power play merchant, and that's exactly what he is right now. 11 of his 13 goals this season have come on the power play. Not that that's not valuable, but the Bruins, with a top 3 power play in the league, I'm not sure they're desperate to get a guy whose production solely comes off the power play, who is not going to score for you 5-on-5. Because let's think about this. Jake DeBrusk, if he came back here, is replacing Victor Arvidsson. And Arvidsson is a great trade candidate in a vacuum, but he is one of your top 5-on-5 scorers. I think he's your number 3 5-on-5 scorer this year. So you can't afford to get rid of that 5-on-5 production for a guy whose overall numbers are very similar, if not better than Arvidsson, but can't do it 5-on-5. And I know he was a bit of a fan favorite around here. In fact, I'm sure if I looked closely, I'd see some number 74 Jake DeBrusk Bruins jerseys. But I was always frustrated with this guy when he was here. It always looked like there was another level to him. And he just never hit it. And he was playing with some great offensive talent. You know, he was playing with Marchand and Bergeron in there, and still he was not hitting a 55, a 60-point plateau. He just never hit that second level, which doesn't mean you're a bad player, but it does mean you probably don't deserve a 7-year sheet. And this guy is not through year 2 of that 7-year contract with Vancouver. I don't want 5 more years of Jake DeBrusk. I don't need that. Let's do the simple math. Let's do the Rockland High math here, okay? He wasn't a guy that you were willing to keep a year and a half ago. He's a year and a half older. He has the same player profile, and you, the Bruins, are still looking for the same thing that you were looking for a year and a half ago. I don't want Jake DeBrusk within 2,000 miles of this team. It is not worth it at all. I don't care how handsome he is, how hot his jersey was selling. He got a good coach fired here. He showed up late for the biggest hockey game of his life, and he's the same player he was a year and a half ago, and he's more expensive, even if Vancouver eats a part of that contract, and you're stuck with it for 5 more years. Jake DeBrusk, miss me with that. The one that does interest me, or I guess 2 that interest me, Kevin Paul DuPont wrote about this in the Globe this week, and it was looking at a deal with Chicago and possibly getting both of those needs. Ryan Donato as your scoring winger and Connor Murphy as your defenseman. Both of those guys are good profiles for the Bruins and what this team needs this year and down the line. Murphy's on an expiring contract, but both of those guys fit your needs right now. Donato is a good player. Not a really good player, not a great player, but a good player. Okay? I mean, I watched that Chicago team quite a bit last year. They suck. Okay? They sucked even worse that year, but they still suck right now. And Donato, 62 points, 31 goals, 31 assists, leading scorer on that dog shit team. That dude can produce, okay? And bring him back. Situate native, Harvard guy, right? Played for the Bruins. Dad played for the Bruins. And Connor Murphy, big physical defenseman, wrong side of 30, 32, expiring contract. Both those guys in the package deal probably cost you some draft premium, which I'm not wild about. Again, I'm not really wild about a first-round pick going out for pretty much anybody in this trade deadline, but that one would actually make some sense to me. And we did get a viewer question. One of the great patrons here at the Blackmoor Bar and Kitchen knew I was talking about trade deadline and said, what about this new one, Mackenzie Weegar from Calgary? You miss out on Rasmus Andersson. Is Mackenzie Weegar the next best thing? The Weegar thing really intrigues me, okay? Because this is a guy who is still producing on, again, a horrible team for Calgary. I think he's been one of the most underrated defensemen in the league the last 2-3 years since he left Florida after that huge year in 2022 for the Panthers. He has been obviously on a wallowing team in Calgary, but he has been just as dependable, if not more dependable, than Rasmus Andersson, who gets all the buzz. He's a couple years younger and is a guy the Bruins were making a big push for just about, a month ago? And this season, Weegar has been better than Rasmus Andersson. I'm going to use the Corsi stat, which I really only like using for defensemen. And another step further, I really only like using it for aging defensemen. And Rasmus Andersson, the Corsi wasn't that great this season for the Flames. Again, a bad team. It's about 48. So that means more of his time is spent in the defensive zone, and he's not really moving play. And that number has gotten worse on a better team with a better roster in Vegas. So Rasmus Andersson, I'm not saying the Bruins dodged a bullet or anything, but he's not as good as I think what Vegas thought they were getting. And Weegar has been better. His has been over 50%, his Corsi, for a worse team. And he's driving play for them better than Rasmus Andersson was. I wonder where you put him. Do you put two right-handed shots and that first D pairing with Charlie McAvoy and let McAvoy be a little bit more physical? I think that could be a pretty good option for the Bruins. I think Calgary's asking price is probably going to be too much. It's probably going to include a first-round pick. I ain't trading a first-round pick for a 32, 33-year-old defenseman, even though I think he would be a heck of a fit for the Bruins down the stretch. So I'm interested. I'm interested in where they can go with this. And these 4 games before the break, before the trade deadline, a couple of them are against some bad teams. But I think this is where you look in the mirror if you're the Bruins. These 4 games. Can we make a push with this team? What are other teams doing? What is Detroit doing? What is Buffalo doing? What is a team like Washington, even though you're not in your division? What are they doing? Intrigues the hell out of me. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. What are the third rail trades for the Bruins that you're saying, no way? Who do you want to bring in here? Do you want to spend it all? Do you just want to ship a couple guys out? Let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Of course, we come to you every weekday on YouTube and wherever you find your podcasts as well. It is your lunchtime alternative to Boston Sports Talk Radio, The Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stuart here on 365 Sports. Shout out to Blackmoor Bar and Kitchen, man. The place is really filling up now. We're getting closer to puck drop. Bruins coming back from the Olympic break. Bees, Blue Jackets. Low-key a massive game tonight. And we are getting you ready for it. And one of the big moments after the gold medalist is that one of our hometown heroes, Charlie Coyle, is coming home. I want to take a deeper look at this game after this quick break. And I also want to talk about Charlie Coyle, his homecoming here, and what he means to this fan base. That is coming up next on the Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stuart.
Blackmoor Bar and Kitchen, located in Charlestown, is the perfect spot for a bite and drink before a Bruins or Celtics game at TD Garden. Blackmoor Bar and Kitchen offers 34 rotating beers, craft cocktails, and an eclectic menu of tavern favorites like burgers, sandwiches, and flatbreads. Join us for brunch every Saturday and Sunday, plus pre- and post-game garden events. Blackmoor Bar and Kitchen. Check us out at blackmoorbar.com.
Circulon C1 Series Clad with Scratch Defense Non-Stick. Maximize cooking, minimize cleaning. Discover the unmatched durability and elegance scratch-free, worry-free, forever.
At Covers and All, we've revolutionized protective solutions with cutting-edge, customizable covers, tarps, and curtains. We deliver premier protection at affordable prices and express shipping. Visit coversandall.com today for the perfect fit, guaranteed to last.
Send money abroad in just a few steps with Remitly. Sign up with your email, enter an amount, choose how your loved ones receive the money, enter your recipient's information, select a payment method, hit send, and relax. Download the Remitly app today.
Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internix. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. That's INTERNXT.com today.
Welcome to Market XLS, your all-in-one Excel solution for investors. Designed as an enterprise-grade platform, Market XLS caters to investment managers, secure and efficient investment management and research. Book your free demo.
What if you could clean clean? With bio-based formulas and deep cleaning enzymes. No dyes, phthalates, or mystery ingredients. Just powerful pods for your dishes and laundry. Now you can, with drops made clean, made to clean.
Back here on the Wicked Boston Show, live from the Blackmoor Bar and Kitchen, just feet away from the Garden, where the Bruins are back on the ice tonight, taking on the Columbus Blue Jackets after a thrilling Olympic break. And this is a massive game tonight. I've talked about this a little bit. Obviously big for Charlie Coyle coming back. Zach, could we get a picture of Charlie Coyle? I should have had that before the show, but you're kind of at my beck and call here, so I'm gonna take advantage of that. I appreciate that, Zach. But this is a really big game, and especially maybe more for Columbus than the Bruins. They were the hottest team going into the Olympic break, 7 wins in a row, 9 of their last 10. They're one of those teams that there's not a lot you can point to and say, well, that is going to get them into the postseason. Zach Werenski's about the only thing you can point to and say that. And he nearly got them into the postseason last year. They were kind of Destiny's darlings after, of course, the passing of Johnny Gaudreau. And they're one of those teams that could just by hook or by crook get in here. You know, there's no rhyme or reason, but they were hot as hell going into the Olympic break after being the worst team in the Eastern Conference at one point this year. So they're a team to watch out for. That's what makes this game tonight low-key, very big. No easing into the post-Olympic schedule here for Bruins and Blue Jackets. And for the Bruins, you know, I talk about the things, the kind of intangible things that have been working for Columbus. For the Bruins, there's some of that too. I don't want to call it luck, but just like intangible things you weren't expecting. You know, Victor Arvidsson has been excellent for you for what you were expecting, right? I mean, this is a dude who was unplayable in the playoffs last year for Edmonton. They just buried him on the bench, and now he's your third best 5-on-5 scorer. Casey Middlestat, since Craig Button called him out in November, has been big time for you on the second line. Pavel Zacha is as good as Pavel Zacha has been, which is to say he's not as good as most of the league thinks he is. So the Bruins have some of that too. You got to be able to keep that going. You got to have, you know, Charlie McAvoy at a near Norris Trophy level, which is what he was in the first half of the season. But I think looking at the sentimentality of tonight, it's really cool to have Charlie Coyle back in the building tonight. I'm wearing the jersey right now, a little number 13 Centennial. But he comes back for the first time after getting traded to Colorado last year in that Will Zellers deal. And I am hoping he gets a thunderous ovation because the clock kind of ran out on Charlie Coyle in terms of what production he was giving you last year. But talk about a loyal freaking servant and a great career and a hometown hero. Charlie Coyle means more to me than almost any other Bruin that has put on the sweater, okay? Here in Boston, we love the hometown kid. Most cities do, but especially here. We love the hometown kid because we don't produce a lot of sports stars at football, in baseball, but we do in hockey. And so when we do get a hometown hero, a hometown boy made good, we make sure they know how appreciated they are. And I mean, think about where we are right now. Charlestown. Matt Grzelcyk grew up in Charlestown. His dad's part of the Bull Gang. He plays at BU, wins the Beanpot MVP, scores the overtime winner in the Beanpot. Like, that's a local legend. And he was treated as such when he played for the Bruins. And for those around my neck of the woods, around my area, Charlie Coyle's our guy, man. South Shore represent. And trust me, here's the thing that really gets me. Because there's plenty of South Shore guys that have come through the NHL. There's quite a few that have played for the Bruins. But, and this is a big but, and for the most part, this doesn't take away from how much they're beloved, but they're from Scituate. They're from Duxbury. They're from Norwell and all these ritzy, nice, FU kind of money suburbs in the Irish Riviera. Matt Grzelcyk, Charlestown, was not that. Charlie Coyle, Weymouth. Throw a little blue collar on your South Shore. Okay? Mix in a little bit of crack dens, of public school, of kind of some rundown blue-collar hockey fans who maybe can't afford the ice time like they can in Duxbury and Scituate. That's where Charlie Coyle's from. And yeah, I'm from a blue-collar town right next door. You know, we knew the Coyles tangentially. You know, I went and played lacrosse in high school with his cousins. Everybody had a story. Everybody knew Charlie Coyle in some way. And where I will get deeper into the weeds, not just from Weymouth, but in high school, plays his first year at Weymouth High, plays the next two at Thayer Academy, where they just produce NHL guys. He literally played for Tony Amonte at Thayer Academy. And then his senior year, he does what nobody does. He goes back to Weymouth High. This is a guy who has played 1,000 games in the NHL, and he played his senior year in public high school hockey and went to the Super 8. Like, he's a legend around the South Shore. And then he goes to BU because that's what all the great local products do. BC gets their guys from New York and New Jersey and Canada or wherever. BU, at least they used to, get them from Massachusetts. And when he came to the Bruins, when that trade went through, ironically enough, they had to send a Scituate guy out to get Charlie Coyle in, and that was Ryan Donato. I mean, that lit a fire under this region, around the South Shore, just a little bit. And the dude always gave back. I mean, he's so active in the community, even in the summer when he comes back. And it was evidence in that 2019 playoff run where he would say, look, just a kid from Weymouth. And he's scoring big goals for them. And, I mean, we could go down the list of all the guys that I feel bad for because they didn't get to win the cup on that 2019 team. You know, Matt Grzelcyk, local guy, Charlie McAvoy, for sure, David Pasternak. A lot of those guys that could have had an even cooler legacy with 2 Stanley Cups, right? Bergeron, Krejci, Chara, Rask. But more than anybody, I wanted Charlie Coyle to win the Stanley Cup I wanted him to have that moment. Because, like, I don't think there's a mass-born player that's won the Stanley Cup with the Bruins. I could be wrong about that, but there weren't very many in the 70s or in the 30s, and there wasn't one on that 2011 Stanley Cup team. Wasn't one there. So to have that moment, to potentially be the first one, he and Grzelcyk, obviously, and Chris Wagner was on that team, Walpole, and to have that day with the cup and bring it back to Weymouth, where there's not a lot of shiny things in that area of the South Shore, I would have given just about anything for Charlie Coyle to have won that cup and bring that back. And this is a great point by MJ Flip, man. NJ Flip. It's different when one of your locals delivers it. It absolutely is. You know, and Charlie's had a hell of a career, but if he delivers that, man, he is a legend around here. He could come to the Blackmoor Bar and Kitchen in Charlestown and never have to worry about buying a drink. And to take a moment on this, by the way, Charlie Coyle has had a hell of a career. And he's having a good year now with Columbus. If Columbus sneaks into the playoffs, Charlie Coyle could be a humongous reason why. But 42 points in 56 games, a 16% shooting percentage. He's still logging 17, almost 18 minutes a night. He's winning more than 50% of his faceoffs, which he hasn't done in years. 3-4 years now since he's done that. He has been a humongous, loyal soldier for that Blue Jackets team. And earlier this year, hit the 1,000-game plateau. Just a kid from Weymouth. 1,000 games in the NHL. And it shows you how dependable the dude was. I'm looking at his hockey reference page, going back from this year back, okay? 56 games out of 56 this year. 83 games last year. Yes, you read that right, heard that right, 83. And then it goes 82, 82, 82, 51 in the 51-game season. The dude hasn't missed a game in years. 70, 60, 81, 66, 82, 82, 82. The dude always plays. He plays hard in all three zones. He wins his face-offs. He can play on the penalty kill. He's just a loyal soldier. Man, I mean, the clock ran out. Like, he just wasn't giving you enough production on a team that was not producing at all last year. He needed to be on a better team, in a better situation, and he got that for Colorado. And shoot, he might have that right now with Columbus. But what a dependable guy. What a consummate Bruin. When you talk about consummate Bruins, that is the kind of guy on there, and I wish you could have won the cup for them. And I hope he gets one hell of an ovation tonight. Where does he rank among the Boston Bruins hometown heroes? Let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to like the video. I love NJ Flip saying bring Will Smith back to Boston. He's a BC guy, but I'll take it. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. We come at you every weekday on YouTube and then wherever you get your podcasts as well. If you're sick of all the BS and Boston Sports Talk Radio, you have hit the jackpot because we are right here on the Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stuart on 365 Sports. Thank you to Zach for staying a little late, keeping us on the air. Special thank you. Can't thank enough to Stephanie Beatty for getting us here. Thank you to the Blackmoor Bar and Kitchen for having us here. And this will not be the last time. You can catch us here next month before one of these Bruins games as well. So keep out on the lookout for that. We will absolutely be keeping you updated on the next time we'll be back here at the Blackmoor Kitchen and Bar. The perfect place to come before a Bruins game, a Celtics game, quite frankly, anything you got going on at the Garden, man. I'm smelling it right now. The appetizers, the food here, top of the line, 34 different draft beers. And guess what? Because this is what we worry about in Boston. Cheap parking right around the corner, right over the Bill Russell Bridge. You can walk to the Garden. Perfect spot. Don't worry about the BS parking over there. Don't worry about the delays in the T. Come on down Charlestown, Blackmoor Bar and Kitchen. Get yourself a bite to eat, couple drinks before the game, after the game as well. We are here. They have been great hosts for us. It's been a great crowd. We got some audience interaction. We got some audience questions in there. Glad to be able to address. I hope all of those. Thumbs up. Yeah, thank you guys. And thank you guys for tuning in at a special new time. We'll be back tomorrow afternoon. We're going to talk some Patriots tomorrow and what their actual offseason needs are. That is at 1 p.m. Eastern, live on YouTube. We will see you then on the Wicked Boston Show with Cam Stuart.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious.
At Open Goal USA, we're revolutionizing training for both soccer and lacrosse with our innovative portable rebounders. Perfect for players of all ages and skill levels. Visit OpenGoAAALUSA.com and elevate your training today.
Farmhounds offers natural treats and chews made with quality products that support family farm, regenerative agriculture, and humane farming practices. Give your dog the best with wholesome, organic ingredients that promote health and happiness. Shop now at farmhounds.com.
Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com. We are Rogue Media Sports.